I just want you all to know that Spider-Man 2 is downloaded and ready to play on my PS5 right now. So if that doesn't tell you how much I appreciate you guys, I don't know what will. What's up? My name is John Bonjour. I'm an artist and a film enthusiast, and I am here to talk about Loki Season 2, Episode 3. This show continues to be incredible. I feel like I could talk about all the good things, and I would just be repeating everything I said from episodes 1 and 2, so I'm going to highlight a couple of new things. First of all, the music in this show is incredible. Loki has this great theme running through the whole show, and this episode, I really appreciated the way that they kind of played with that. When Loki and Mobius are walking through the bar, the quartet is playing the Loki theme, but very subtly in a very kind of different version. Throughout the episode, it's just kind of an old-timey version of that theme the whole time, which I think is really creative and really exciting. Same deal with Sylvie. We get a little play on her theme, but it's not exactly the way we've heard it every time. I appreciate that it's not just a soundbite that they play. They're really, making music for this show. I also appreciate that we get little character moments, like with Loki looking up at the statues of Odin and Thor. First of all, that's just a great little moment for Loki, for him to kind of remember where he came from and sort of reconcile with the fact that he's not really that important to a lot of people. Just another step in the journey that he's taking this season. It's such a tiny little thing, but I also appreciate that Thor has the kind of MCU styling in just the way that they carved the statue. It's little details like that that really bring this whole universe together and really make it feel like something that's connected and important. That attention to detail is Marvel at its finest, in my opinion. Another great thing on this episode, Jonathan Majors is finally back as a Kang variant. It's sort of hinted at one point that he might eventually become He Who Remains, but I'm not totally sure if that's true. I guess we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sold on that yet. But either way, I'm so appreciating just the commitment to this character that he's bringing. The way he plays Victor Timely is completely different from the way he plays He Who Remains and the way he played Kang, but I totally see the connection point. I see how, not just because he looks, like him because he's the same guy, but I see in his performance little moments like He Who Remains or little moments like Kang. Incredible. I really hope that guy doesn't suck because he's such a good Kang. The relationship that they developed between him and Renslayer I think was really interesting. It's hard to sell me on a new romance, especially if it's kind of a bad guy and kind of another bad guy, but somehow they really sold it, and I felt this connection that they had, and then for him to betray her later, it completely took me off guard. I think that was A, just really crazy good writing, and B, brilliant acting. Not to mention the way that they incorporate Miss Minutes into that whole deal. It's so engaging and creative. It's also really impressive to me that I fully buy Miss Minutes being in this scene. She's an animated clock, and I'm like, yeah, that's just a character in this scene. I think that's really impressive. Part of what I think they do that makes that work is that she's just in the background of shots sometimes, just doing her own thing, reacting to the scene. Sometimes she's out of focus and not really the important part of the shot. Again, it's such a tiny little thing, but I feel like they didn't have to do that as much as they did, but it really grounded her and the scene as a whole. Which is crazy to say about a show about time travel and branching timelines. Speaking of which, we are just straight up deep in the paint on geeky timeline business, huh? I wonder what this show feels like for someone who's not super invested in the MCU to watch. There's gotta be so many questions. I would have so many questions. But since I am fully obsessed with this universe, I love how deep they're going with it. I appreciate that it's not surface level, oh yeah, like The Flash. I feel like The Flash just did a lot of oh, you're me, but with a hat. I'm not really into that kind of multiverse. Multiverse is a hard thing to sell me on, and Loki does a great job of fully selling me on the idea. I love when we go to a new time and we get the little marker that says year and place and sacred timeline or branch timeline. Again, a tiny little detail, but you really get to see it played with in this episode. Renslayer goes to the sacred timeline, drops the book off for a young Victor Timely, and then Loki and Mobius pick up that trail and follow it into a branch timeline. So much thought has been put into this show. It is glaringly obvious how much the people who made this care about it and want it to be something truly spectacular. And honestly, so far, I would say they are absolutely achieving that goal. I think if I had to have anything negative to say, sometimes they're covering so much that it feels like we jump a couple of logic gaps here and there. Most of the time, I'm absolutely able to follow it and really have no problem with it. Every once in a while, I feel like I'm kind of picking up the pieces of a couple of things that they sort of left on the cutting room floor. But I just can't say that I really care too much about that. Sure, it might be a minor flaw, but this show is way too good for me to be upset about something like that. And also with how much they've covered, I fully believe that they need to make a couple of those logic jumps, because we have gone way further in this season than I even thought we were going to. And we're halfway through. There are 3 more episodes for all kinds of craziness to happen. I have really no idea what Miss Minutes was talking about when she said there was a secret about Renslayer. Very intrigued by that, but I've got no clue. If I'm gonna take a wild gamble, which of course I am, you know me, maybe they were married. Or maybe she's a variant. Oh, she could be a Kang. That'd be a twist. Anyway, I love this show. It's incredible. I will definitely be doing like a full season review at the end with all the art. But for now, keep watching Loki. Keep watching my videos, or don't do that, and I'm gonna go play Spider-Man. Thank you for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, shows, comics, Swiffer, Wet Jets, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below what you want me to review next. Keep watching Loki, or don't do any of that, because I am not your dad.